Yo, what is going on, everyone? My name is Nick, or the Notorious Fantasy, and in today's video, we're going to be talking about 5 running back sleepers that I can't stop drafting in 2023 fantasy football. For the purpose of today's video, all of these sleepers are going to be going after pick 100 based upon current ADP. More specifically, the first running back is after pick 110. But before we can do a deep dive into these sleeper running backs, I would like to ask that if you guys do end up enjoying today's video and you are new to the channel, to please make sure that you hit that subscribe button down below. And while you're down there, whether you are new to the channel or not, please make sure they do leave a like on today's video. It would help me out a ton. If you want to follow me on Twitter, please do so at NotoriousFantasy. So without further ado, let's get into 5 running back sleepers that I can't stop drafting in 2023 fantasy football. We begin with my first running back sleeper of today's video, Damien Harris of the Buffalo Bills, current underdog ADP running back 38 at pick 116.5. Last year, he played in New England, where he was ultimately overtaken by Ramondre Stevenson as the lead back on the team. He played in 13 games last season, finished as the RB 48.5 PPR and the running back 56 in half PPR points per game. He had 106 carries, 9.6 per game, number 42, 463 rushing yards, 42.1 per game, number 44, 23 targets, 54th, 17 receptions, 50th, 97 receiving yards, 63rd, and 3 total touchdowns, 47th. Now, while I said that Ramondre Stevenson overtook Damien Harris, I don't think that that's necessarily saying that Damien Harris is just a complete and utter fucking disaster, right? And that Damien Harris has lost all of that luster that he had previously in his career with the Patriots. I think that is more of a sentiment of the fact that Ramondre Stevenson is just really good, right? Ramondre Stevenson is an excellent pass catcher. He's excellent inside of the tackles, right? He's a great runner. He's a strong runner. He's a big bastard. So I get that Ramondre Stevenson taking over for Damien Harris as the lead back really shouldn't be a reason why you would want to kind of throw stones at Damien Harris. Ramondre Stevenson is just really good. Damien Harris is now on the Buffalo Bills in a situation where he might be seeing a majority of carries in this offense. Sure, they have James Cook, and James Cook is obviously going to be the pass-catching back on this team. But we saw last year, even though Devin Singletary was the textbook definition of mid, he's not very good at all. James Cook was still not able to elevate past him in that offense and really grab onto a strong role for the Buffalo Bills. Now, does this mean that I think James Cook is a complete and utter bust? While I don't like drafting him in fantasy football, I'm not ready to say that because he does have that pass-catching upside and he's going to catch passes. But I think based upon where Damien Harris is going and based upon the amount of usage that I could definitely foresee him having in this offense, I love Damien Harris right now. Damien Harris looks as though he is going to be the guy on the goal line they hand the ball to. Now, obviously, Josh Allen is still there, and we all know all you got to do is just give the ball to Josh Allen. He could do a 360 fucking torpedo, stick the ball over the goal line, and score a touchdown. But I think Damien Harris is going to be seeing some carries in this offense, and again, I think he is a much superior running back to Devin Singletary. So you get a running back on an offense that is going to be scoring a bunch of points in the Buffalo Bills. To me, it is a no-brainer to take that upside shot at running back 38 at pick 116.5. Now, if Damien Harris was coming off the board as the running back 24, he was going a lot earlier in drafts, and people really liked him because of all of what I said, and they were very confident that he was going to be the lead back. All of that, I would push back because the price was too high. But when you fall past pick 100, and this is the part in the draft where you want to be taking the most shots, those upside shots to potentially having a guy that could be in your lineup weekly. They have big risk, but you don't really want to be safe late in drafts. I think Damien Harris is that. I think he's not ultra safe. I think he's guaranteed to get some carries in this offense, but he does have that big upside. And if something was to happen to James Cook, right, if James Cook gets hurt, we know Damien Harris can catch passes, and this would potentially be a league-winning pick in fantasy football. So I'm a huge fan of Damien Harris. Obviously, Dalvin Cook could just show up and ruin everything, but Dalvin Cook has been rumored to go to basically every single fucking offense in the AFC. So I'll just digress with that take, right? We don't need to just beat Dalvin Cook into the dirt because we have no idea what team he is going to be on. Moving now to player number 2, we got my guy Tank Bigsby of the Jacksonville Jaguars, sleeper number 2, underdog ADP running back 46 at pick 141.4. He was a third-round pick in the 2023 NFL Draft at pick 89. He played 3 years at Auburn with over 800 rushing yards in all seasons. In 2022, at 21 years old, he played in 12 games, having 179 carries for 970 yards, 30 receptions for 180 yards, 15.3% target share in that Auburn offense, and 10 total touchdowns. Tank Bigsby is a bit of a bigger guy. Now, obviously, he's not like fucking Shaquille O'Neal. He's not 7 feet tall. He's 6'10", 210 pounds, despite the fact that the Auburn offensive line was straight up dog shit. They were terrible. They were the 3rd lowest graded run blocking line in the SEC last season. He still averaged 5.5 yards per carry, and a lot of those yards per carry were from after contact. 4.2 rushing yards after contact per attempt, ranked 7th. So Tank Bigsby is a legitimately good running back on an offense that looked towards the end of last season to be incredibly legitimate. They laid the smackdown, brother, on the Chargers in the playoffs. Remember when the Chargers were up by a zillion points and then Trevor Lawrence just put the team on his back? They marched down the field a million times and ended up beating the Chargers in probably one of the biggest playoff collapses of all time since the Atlanta Falcons up against the Patriots. So this Jaguars offense looks loaded. They bring in Calvin Ridley. Do I think Tank Bigsby is instantly going to take over for Travis Etienne? The answer would be no. But something I do want to note is a lot of the time in the NFL, if the head coach of the team didn't draft the player, they're not 100% all in on that guy. Now, I know Etienne was a first-round pick that bozo ended up drafting the same year as Trevor Lawrence, but at the end of the day, that's not the same head coach. They now have Doug Peterson, and I think that could potentially lead to Tank Bigsby having more touches because Doug Peterson fucking drafted him in the 3rd round. Now, again, I don't think that Tank Bigsby is going to just take over instantly as the running back 1 on the team. But I think Tank Bigsby provides some upside that Travis Etienne does not have. I think Tank Bigsby is a much better goal line back. And I think if Travis Etienne continues to struggle in the pass catching game, despite the fact that why everyone liked him coming out of Clemson was because of the pass catching upside, right? If he continues to struggle catching passes, Tank Bigsby can do that. So I think Tank Bigsby is in a really good spot. If Etienne gets hurt, Bigsby will be a league winner. A league winner. If Etienne plays all season, Bigsby might have some upside in certain games, right? In certain matchups, you say, hey, the Jags are going to score a lot of points. They're going up against some bad defense. You can throw Bigsby in. I think he also might be seeing more snaps. I don't think this is necessarily going to be 70-30 Etienne. It might be closer to 55-45 Etienne in terms of snap share. Moving now to my 3rd running back sleeper, we got Tyler Allgeier of the Atlanta Falcons, underdog ADP running back 47 at pick 146.6. Last year, Allgeier was the running back 27 in half PPR and the running back 33 in half PPR points per game, tied with Antonio Gibson. He played in 16 games last year with 7 starts, having 210 carries, 13.1 per game, number 17, 1,035 rushing yards, 65.7 per game, number 14, 17 targets, 16 receptions, 139 receiving yards, all ranked outside of the top 40, and 4 total touchdowns, 41st. Tyler Allgeier was really efficient last season, and had they not have drafted Bijan Robinson in the 1st round, who's obviously going to be the workhorse running back on this team, Tyler Allgeier might be a 5th round pick in fantasy football drafts, because despite the draft capital that he received in 2022 when he was drafted, this guy looked incredibly legit, and this is a Falcons offense that wants to run the rock gently down the stream. They dream of running the ball. Arthur Smith wakes up in the middle of the night with a wet bed because he jizzed in his pants because they ran the ball so much. He just loves running the rock. It didn't matter last year if the Falcons were were getting raw dogged behind the back of Denny's, he was going to run the ball. They'd be losing by 14, and they just continued to run the ball. It was astonishing the level of rushing that this team wants to do. And it would make sense in 2023 that they want to do the same thing. I know they have Drake London, who I love. They have Kyle Pitts. They have these great talents. But the problem is their quarterback is Desmond fucking Ridder. So they're going to continue to want to run the ball. And Allgeier looked good. 4.6 true yards per carry, 20th. 5.2 yards per touch, 19th. 6.2% breakaway run rate, 18th. So again, while Allgeier looked good, he's obviously been dethroned by Bijan Robinson. But I want to continue to spew the fact that they want to run the ball. They want to run the ball at a very high rate. So even if Bijan's getting all these touches, Tyler Allgeier is still going to get work in this offense. Obviously, not going to be a guy you want to be starting every single week, but Tyler Allgeier might be one of the best handcuffs. And when you think about it in fantasy football in prior years, when you want that elite handcuff, you want that Tony Pollard, you want that A.J. Dillon, you want that Alexander Madison behind Dalvin Cook, you have to pay the big price. You have to pay out the ass to get this guy that if the guy ahead of him goes down, you're going to be feasting, right? You're going to be enjoying the riches of that. But that was in like the 10th round, the 11th round. This is later, right? Tyler Allgeier's pick 146.6. And he might be he will be the lead back on the team if Bijan goes down. Knock on wood, we don't root for injuries. So I think Tyler Allgeier is going to be seeing touches when Bijan's healthy, and if Bijan was to go down again, knock on wood, we don't root for injuries. Tyler Allgeier is going to have a humongous role in this offense. Before we talk about running back sleeper 4 and 5, I would like to give you guys a quick word from our friends and our sponsor over at Underdog Fantasy. We've mentioned them already a bunch of times in today's video. They are the best place to play best ball fantasy football this summer. If you don't know what best ball is, it's the best part about fantasy football. It is the draft, and that is it. You draft your team, there's no waivers, there's no trades, and there is no in-season management. You don't have to edit your lineup. At the end of every single week, Underdog will automatically put your highest scores into your lineup for you, and they have the biggest fantasy football contest ever, Best Ball Mania 4, 150 max entries, $25 per entry, $3 million to first place, $15 million in total prizes. If you don't want to join these big tournaments, you can just do a normal $3 draft on there. It's going to be a lot like your redraft league, except for, again, it's still best ball. First and second place get paid out with as low of buy-ins as $3. They also have some smaller tournaments. They're going to have the puppy. They have the poodle right now, $7 to enter, 50 max entries, $300K in total prizes, $60,000 to first place. So if you're new to Underdog Fantasy, you want to check it out, make sure you check on the link in the video description, or use promo code Notorious for a first match deposit bonus of up to $100. You deposit $100, they will give you an additional $100, 50, additional 50, 25, and additional 25. I love drafting on Underdog, and that's what I'm going to do after I edit today's video. I'm going to do some drafts. So now we move back to the running back sleepers. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, that like button if you have enjoyed thus far. Running back sleeper number 4, my guy, Raheem, the Dream, Mostert, Underdog ADP running back 54, pick 172.3. Now, just like with Damien Harris, if Dalvin Cook moseys his way on into Miami, Raheem Mostert's value is going to be flushed down the fucking toilet. He's going to get hit with the swirly like a kid in an old movie where he was getting bullied, right? We've all seen those scenes in those old movies. So Raheem Mostert, obviously with Devin 2 Chains, and Jeff Wilson, Raheem Mostert is far from a safe option every single week. But due to his speed and due to how good this Dolphins offense projects to be and how good this Dolphins defense projects to be, they might be running the ball a lot deeper in games, which would help out Raheem Mostert. And he could take any either catch or run fucking 80 yards to the end zone. And that's pretty good when he's pick 172.3, which is basically close to being undrafted in most redraft leagues. Running back 26.5 PPR last season, 32 in half PPR points per game. He had 16 games played last season with 14 starts, 181 carries, 11.3 per game, number 29, 891 rushing yards, 55.7 per game, number 20. 42 targets, 2.6 per game, number 25, 31 receptions, 1.9 per game, number 26, 202 receptions, 12.6 per game, number 34, and 5 total touchdowns, 31st. Raheem Mostert was relatively efficient last season, 4.6 true yards per carry, 16th, and 5.2 yards per touch, 20th. Again, Raheem Mostert right now is a bet that maybe Devin 2 Chains is going to be used as a pass catcher, which I think he will, and maybe in his rookie year, they ease him in. Right? Maybe that's what happens. And then Raheem Mostert and Jeff Wilson are kind of the duo, the tag team there. Raheem Mostert, to me, seems like the better pick than Jeff Wilson. I still prefer Devin 2 Chains over Raheem Mostert, but I do think, again, you're betting on a running back that is fast as fuck on an explosive offense that's going to score a lot of points. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to decode why Raheem Mostert has that huge upside and why he's a great sleeper. And again, if Wilson gets hurt or if a chain gets hurt, again, knock on wood, we don't root for injuries, then this is how Raheem Mostert really elevates himself to potentially being a top 16, 18 running back in my rankings any given week. Moving now to player number 5, running back sleeper number 5, the final sleeper, Gus Bus Edwards of the Baltimore Ravens, underdog ADP running back 57 at pick 184.8. He was the running back 61.5 PPR last season and 52 in points per game, tied with Michael Cotta. He had 9 games played with 4 starts, 87 carries, 9.7 per game, number 50, 433 rushing yards, 48.1 per game, number 47, 2 targets, no receptions, no receiving yards, and 3 total touchdowns. He averaged the 11th most true yards per carry and faced the most average defenders in the box, so they loaded the box when Gus Bus Edwards was going to be getting carries. Now, I think J.K. Dobbins is going to be healthy, but I have always been someone that has not been the biggest truther of J.K. Dobbins. Now, do I think J.K. Dobbins is useless? Do I think he's fucking garbage, flaming pile of dog shit? No, he's not. But do I think that this is an offense that, again, predicated on running? I think they're going to try to throw the ball a little bit more this season. But I think Gus Edwards has value in this offense, whether Dobbins is healthy or not. Obviously, the way to pole vault any of these running backs, aside from maybe Damien Harris, who weekly you could just argue you could start, like Bigsby, Allgeier, Mostert, Edwards. If a injury happens, these guys could elevate themselves into legitimate league winner roles. Now, the biggest downfall of Edwards' game is his pass catching. He's just not a pass catcher, right? They're not going to give him many opportunities to catch passes. Maybe he can get 20 targets on the season, but even then, that's like a prayer up to the fantasy gods. I think Gus Edwards is a good player. Again, his efficiency stats will tell you that, and when he's been given the opportunity, he has done very well. He has reaped the benefits of the scenario he has been put in. So you got a running back that's going super deep in drafts in an offense that I project to be really good in the Baltimore Ravens. You kind of just have to like that when we've seen Gus Edwards perform in the past, and we've seen that J.K. Dobbins hasn't really been able to stay healthy. Now, again, Dobbins looked good down the stretch of last season when he came back, so I'm not saying that Edwards is taking the role, gonna fucking grab him by the face like what Conor McGregor did to Michael Chandler in The Ultimate Fighter, right? He's not gonna just grab him by the face and steal the role. That's not going to happen. But could this be a closer split? Could this not be J.K. Dobbins' workhorse running back scenario? I think that'd be kind of crazy to think, but some people might think that. So I think Gus is in a solid role to potentially have big upside in this offense. Thank you guys all so much for watching. If you ended up enjoying, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below, as well as hitting that like button. I would appreciate that a ton. I love you all. I hope you have a great rest of your guys' day. And as always, good boy.